What is Australia's position? Is the opposition and the government have a bipartisan position here as to what the message is to Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, LJ, it is a message of support for Israel. We spoke with one bipartisan voice in the passage of a parliamentary motion after the October 7 attacks that recognised Israel's inherent right to defend itself. It recognised the importance of removing Hamas. It also recognised the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people and how they were hurt and harmed by the operations of Hamas. So, yes, we have clear positions that I think are held across policy lines. Obviously, some different Albanese government ministers have spoken in different ways, but I trust that the delegation that I will be a part of is one that will be able to engage consistently with a common purpose.
Sure, but Senator, if sorry to interrupt here, but to say, Israel has a right to defend itself and, there is sympathy for Palestinians who are hurt and killed on the other side, to me, isn't that the bare minimum we can say without, getting in political crosshairs?
Well, there are many sensitivities and complexities, and of course complexities that can go back quite some time. There's no doubting that. But we have common ground in terms of what ultimately everybody wishes to see. Our Parliament has spoken across at least parties of government with a common voice, including the need for respect for international law. But we will be there clearly indicating the support that Australia has demonstrated for Israel in terms of the views, I think, of very many Australians after seeing those terrorist attacks of October 7. And we will be doing so in a very consistent and clear-cut way with the positions that have been taken to date. It has been disappointing, as I said at the outset, that the government has not taken the lead in this regard. And of course, government-to-government dialogue can have a different level of impact and status than a parliamentary delegation, a senior opposition shadow minister or the like. But I'm pleased to take the first opportunity to do so, to be the first to be able to convey those messages in Israel, at least from the Australian Parliament, from the Australian opposition, and to make sure that we are clear in that and in our support and our desire to see ultimately a future where a terrorist operation like Hamas is not pretending to govern the people of Gaza and putting them in harm's way, as well as posing a threat to those Israeli peoples who live alongside them.
The level of anti-Semitism in Australia has been alarming to Jews and non-Jews alike, I think, over the last 2 months or so. Perhaps anti-Semitism is too much of a hackneyed term now. Should we call it what it is? What has bubbled to the surface is a level of hatred, it would seem, for people because they're Jewish.
That LJ is tragically what we are seeing in all too many circumstances. And when we got to the point of seeing protests happen at a hotel where the families of hostage victims and murder victims were staying, that's just a horrific, intimidatory targeting of people who have been through enormous trauma and grief. Everyone has a right to peaceful protest in Australia, and they have a right to peaceful protest in ways that should be respectful of others. Now, I'm deeply disappointed that Prime Minister Albanese missed the opportunity at National Cabinet this week to make a united stand and statement against anti-Semitism. The chance was there with every single state and territory leader for Prime Minister Albanese to come out with a united statement against anti-Semitism and being clear about the steps in education, policing and elsewhere that the Commonwealth and states and territories could take. And tragically, that opportunity was missed. And I would urge the government to look at how it can take a leadership role in addressing this, because Australia is a country that has a proud history, as I said earlier, of having welcomed some of the largest populations of post-Holocaust settlers to our country. And the fact that this week Israel changed its travel advisory to suggest people needed to exercise caution or care or precautions when they came to Australia is a stain on our country, and it should be a top priority of the government to to have that stain removed by addressing the serious issues of anti-Semitism.
Indeed. Simon Birmingham, thanks for your time as always. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, LJ. All the best.